Hi, good evening, and thank God it is Friday. What are your plans for the weekend? What are you getting up to? What are you doing to relax? For those who are in the 9 to 5 space, very likely you should have been paid or will be paid in a couple of days. So, what do you plan to do? I hope you take out some of your paycheck and do some investing. Invest in anything. Invest in yourself, invest in stock market, it could be crypto, it could be mutual funds, whatever. But just are you constantly investing? Today I'll be looking at the three listed cement firms on the NGX. In fact, if memory serves me correct, I think these are the only cement firms in the country. Buacem, Dangote Cement, and Lafarge. Um, I try to estimate, like I've been doing in the last couple of videos, I try to estimate where I think these stocks should be trading in a year from now, going by their first quarter numbers. And for Bua Cement, I have a hold view because Bua Cement is trading about 9.9 times earnings. In fact, you might argue that it's maybe a bit pricier than the others. The average P on the exchange at the moment is about 7.4 times earnings. So at 9.9, you might argue that, well, yes, it should be worth a bit more, but it's a hold in my view. Now, for Dangote Cement, I think there's possible upside. The only downside with that stock, and maybe I should put it here so it's clear, is that stock is illiquid, very illiquid. So illiquid means that it's you can barely get any decent amount of shares to buy. It's difficult to get in, and you want to invest most times, except you're going to be there for 5, 10 years or whenever. But even if you're going to be there that long, I think that you always want to invest in a stock that's very fairly liquid. So also take um, Boa Cement, also very illiquid. One of the reasons for the illiquidity you have with these stocks is that the vast majority of shares are held by the controlling owners. Dangote Cement, I think, so somewhere between maybe what 75 or 80 something percent is held by DIL, Dangote Industries Limited. Poor Cement, there are a bunch of investment vehicles that are ultimately controlled by the founder, Abdul Samad Rabiu. So both stocks are very illiquid. In terms of where is the most upside, I think Lafarge has the most upside, but this also has its reasons you want to exercise caution. You have a new core investor, or will I say handover from might say new investor in the works, or let me say new Lafarge Holcim exit uh, in the works. The only thing stopping it, I think, is some petition to the National Assembly and a few other places. So one must exercise caution or consider these in consideration. But beyond that, I would say Lafarge has the most upside. I had originally planned, in fact, my original sheet had tried to forecast what the dividends were going to be and the likes, but I had to remove that because Lafarge kind of broke out the trend. They paid an interim dividend, I think, of 4 naira. So it's a bit difficult to forecast how much more they're going to pay. Are they going to pay maybe 2, 3 naira? They're going to pay another 4 naira. But I think you can assume with some certainty that Dangote Cement probably would end up paying most of its earnings as dividends. Last year, I think they paid 100%. So one can easily assume that, look, maybe I get a 40 naira dividend, or I get a 35 naira dividend. Um, Last year, I think was 30. So this year, meaning FY 2025 dividend, could be somewhere anywhere between 35, 40. Boa Cement, I can't quite remember off heart the payout ratio. But I guess one can assume they probably will do what, maybe 20, 30, 40%. So you can use that to work out your dividend yield and all that. I had done that, and in terms of dividend yield, um, Dangote Cement had a better dividend yield than Buacem. Lafarge was second. So if you're someone who's pursuing dividends, then you can wait and see how the next couple of quarters will be. Also, one must consider seasonality when it comes to the cement space. Last year was a really tough wet season. In the wet season, construction tends to slow down or stop, so you have lower numbers. Last year was especially rough. One of the companies, I think it was either Bua or Dangote Cement, had flagged this in their numbers. So, I mean, from my end down here in the south, the rains don't seem to be so heavy, but we still have two months to go, or maybe 3 months to go to decide that. If the rains are heavy, then you may see a material slowdown. And it's just a normal thing. Some sectors have seasonality, meaning they are affected by weather or consumption patterns. So Q2 numbers may be soft compared to Q1, but Q3, Q4, where the dry season, the festive period, you have lots of people wanting to complete projects before the end of the year or once the weather becomes friendly again. So do take that into consideration. Please note that this is not investment advice, it's not trading advice, it's not financial advice or whatever form of advice. Do your own research. There's a multiplicity of free resources that you can read, sample as many as possible, and then you can come to your own conclusion on what you would do or not do. So have a good weekend, everyone, and watch out. I have a couple of videos coming out on Saturday, so keep an eye on the channel. Have a good day.